Dr. Marcus Chen adjusted his safety goggles and chuckled as he read the latest message from the Galactic Science Council. The holographic display flickered with urgent warnings written in 17 different alien languages, all saying essentially the same thing. Cease all research immediately. Critical violation of universal constants detected. Universal constants, Marcus muttered, shaking his head as he returned to his workbench. These aliens have been studying physics for 10,000 years longer than us, and they still think the universe has rules that can't be bent. The laboratory hummed with energy around him. Exotic matter contained in magnetic fields that would have terrified any sane physicist. But Marcus Chen had never been accused of being sane. When humanity had first joined the Galactic Federation 3 decades ago, they'd been classified as a dangerously curious species and placed under strict scientific supervision. Most human researchers had grudgingly accepted the limitations. Marcus had simply moved his lab to an asteroid belt, where nobody would bother him. His invention sat in the center of the room like a metallic flower, its crystalline petals pulsing with impossible geometries. The Heisenberg redistributor, his pet name for it, was based on a simple human insight that had apparently eluded every other species in the galaxy. If quantum uncertainty was truly random, then randomness itself could be harvested and redistributed. The Zephyri had been the first to detect his experiments. Their message had been polite but firm. Respected human scientist Chen, your manipulations of probability matrices threaten fundamental cosmic stability. Please discontinue this research for the safety of all sapient life. Marcus had responded by successfully redistributing the quantum uncertainty of his morning coffee, making it simultaneously hot and cold until he chose to observe it. The coffee had been delicious. Next came the crystalline hegemony, beings of pure logic who communicated through mathematical equations. Their warning had been a 17-page proof demonstrating why his research was impossible. Marcus had framed it on his wall and continued working. The Void Shepherds had been less diplomatic. These ancient energy beings had simply appeared in his lab one day, their forms crackling with power that could unmake stars. Human, their voice had resonated through dimensions Marcus couldn't even perceive. You tamper with forces beyond your comprehension. The quantum foam itself rebels against your crude manipulations. Cease or face consequences that will echo across eternity. Marcus had looked up from his work, pushed his safety goggles up onto his forehead and grinned. You know what's funny about consequences echoing across eternity? That's exactly what I'm trying to achieve. The Void Shepherd had flickered with what might have been confusion. Explain. You see uncertainty as chaos to be contained, Marcus had said, gesturing at his invention. But chaos is just order we don't understand yet. I'm not breaking the laws of physics, I'm teaching them new dance steps. The ancient being had departed without another word, but not before Marcus caught something in their energy signature that looked suspiciously like curiosity. Now 3 months later, the warnings had escalated to threats of military intervention. The entire Galactic Federation was apparently mobilizing to stop one human with a basement workshop and a theory that made their physicists weep. Marcus activated the Heisenberg redistributor for what he knew would be the final test. The device hummed to life, its crystalline petals rotating through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Around him, reality began to flex. The quantum uncertainty that normally made subatomic particles dance in random patterns suddenly became ordered, predictable, and most importantly, transferable. Marcus reached out with instruments that existed in 12 dimensions simultaneously and began to redistribute probability itself across the galaxy. On Zephyra Prime, a lottery winner who should have had odds of 1 in several billion suddenly found themselves winning again. And again. The Zephyri statisticians checked their calculations 17 times before admitting that probability curves were somehow being artificially flattened. In the crystalline hegemony, logic gates that had operated with perfect mathematical precision for eons began producing results that were still correct, but arrived at through impossible pathways. Their greatest minds discovered that mathematics itself was evolving new forms of proof that worked but shouldn't exist. The Void Shepherds, beings who had shaped galaxies through careful manipulation of cosmic forces, suddenly found that space-time responded to their touch differently. Not wrongly, just with a creativity that defied their ancient understanding. And in a small laboratory on an unremarkable asteroid, Marcus Chen watched his instruments as they registered something unprecedented. The universe was learning. The Heisenberg redistributor wasn't just redistributing quantum uncertainty. It was teaching the cosmos new ways to be uncertain. Reality was discovering that it could be more flexible than it had ever imagined, more creative in its expression of physical laws. His communication array crackled to life. Messages were pouring in from across the galaxy, but these weren't warnings or threats. Scientists of every species were reporting impossible discoveries, new phenomena that expanded the very definition of what was possible. A Zephyri physicist announced the discovery of collaborative probability, where random events could work together to produce more interesting outcomes. A crystalline mathematician published a proof that logic could be intuitive without sacrificing rigor. Even the Void Shepherd sent a message, a single equation that somehow conveyed profound gratitude alongside cosmic bewilderment. Marcus leaned back in his chair and grinned. The galaxy had spent eons learning to follow the rules. It had taken a human to teach it how to dance. His invention hummed quietly in the center of the room, its work complete. The universe would never be the same. It was better. More creative, more flexible, more alive with possibility. Marcus Chen had done what humans did best. He had looked at something everyone else accepted as unchangeable and asked, but what if it could be different? The galaxy was still trying to figure out how to thank him.